Thank you for joining us tonight. You're now with me, Shao Shaminato for TVS Nightline. We begin with the headlines tonight. The state's tourism industry is optimistic that the sector will recover by year-end. Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dr. Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said this will be possible due to the high number of vaccines administered in Sarawak. By the next month, Sarawak will also achieve 80% following its aggressive approach towards the targeted herd immunity.
By end of this month or by mid-August, we might be able to hit the 80%. I think that is what we were informed in the SDMC meeting. We anticipate entering the phase 3 by end of August. Now we are presently in phase 2, and we hope to start the tourism industry going, and as well as the business event in Sarawak by the 4th quarter of this year.
However, Karim expressed this would only be possible if each and every Sarawakian are working together to break the new COVID-19 variant chain.
Banyaknya bergantung kepada keadaan juga. Walaupun harapan kita adalah untuk melihat kes-kes positif menurun, tapi pada masa ini semua kita tahu ada varian-varian yang baru yang timbul. There are quite a number of things that are beyond our control. We never know about Delta variant, but if we are able to address this problem faster, we would be able to take off, and the tourism industry would be able to take off much earlier.
Karim told a press conference following a work visit at the vaccination center for industry players here in Kuching. The initiative was implemented by his ministry to ensure the industry players are ready to operate once the situation permits. Meanwhile, a total of 231 people from Kampung Brunei, Kampung Baru and Kampung Seberang in Dalat received their land titles under Section 18 of the Sarawak Land Code, and thus resolving the issue of land ownership disputes and putting their land to good use.
Keputusannya masih kekal sampai ke hari ini, kecuali ada makluman baru yang kita terima daripada pihak kerajaan atau pihak yang Ketum Menteri ataupun Kerajaan Persekutuan, maka kita akan maklumkan kemudian.
At the same time, the same number of congregation is applied for Ideal Adha prayers at mosques and suraus, stipulated in the current standard operating procedures.
Perkeliling yang kita keluarkan baru hari ini hanya untuk masjid Jami' Petra Jaya Kuching saja ditambah sampai ke 500 orang. Manakala untuk masjid lain dan surau-surau antara 100 hingga 200 orang sekali jemaah untuk solat tersebut.
For records, Rahman has not received any complaints regarding compliances of SOP, as most congregation has adhered to what has been set in the SOPs. A total of 231 people from Kampung Brunei, Kampung Baru and Kampung Seberang in Dalat received their land titles under Section 18 of the Sarawak Land Code, and thus resolving the issue of land ownership disputes and putting their land to good use.
Kalau sebelum ini tiada title tanah untuk tanah di kampung tradisi itu, maka kemudahan ini tidak dapat digunakan oleh individu terutama yang diam di kampung tradisi. Jadi kemudahan ini alhamdulillah insya-Allah akan dapat membantu orang kampung di kampung tradisi untuk membina rumah yang lebih baik untuk didiami.
No fees are charged to the residents for the implementation process. In fact, the grants given will not have an expiration date. For the record, among the other villages that have received the same recognition are Kampung Senau, Kampung Terus, Kampung Teh, Kampung Balan, Kampung Bakong and Kampung Boom. And Sarawak Energy Berhad SEB suffered a total of 8.4 million ringgit to alleged electricity theft by Bitcoin mining syndicate in several operations covering 6 districts in the state since April this year. According to Miri Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Hakim Al-Hawari said, mining Bitcoin have resulted to frequent power disruption throughout the year. Additionally, 3 houses were razed by fire due to illegal electricity tapping.
Untuk makluman, dalam tempoh bulan Februari bagi tahun 2021 ini sehingga April, hasil daripada maklumat risikan pihak polis dari IPD Miri bersama dengan pasukan ACD, Miri telah membuat serbuan ke atas 6 premis di sekitar Bandaraya Miri ini. Hasil daripada serbuan tersebut, seramai 8 orang telah ditangkap kerana disyaki telah mencuri perkaran elektrik untuk tujuan aktiviti melobong Bitcoin, dan sejumlah 1,069 unit mesin Bitcoin ini telah berjaya dirampas dengan nilai rampasan dianggarkan berjumlah 5.3 juta.
The case is now being investigated under Section 379 of the Penal Code for electricity theft. Further investigation revealed 6 out of 8 suspects were sentenced to 8 months of imprisonment and 8,000 ringgit fined. Hakimal warned the public to not commit such mischief, as police will not hesitate to take action against those who are involved in such crime.
Pihak Polis Miri dengan kerjasama pihak SED Miri akan meningkatkan lagi operasi bagi mengesan perbuatan penyambungan wayar secara Arab untuk tujuan aktiviti melombong Bitcoin, dan tindakan undang-undang terhadap operator yang terlibat akan diambil.
On to the next update. A supposedly memorable trip with mum to a pepper farm turned tragic as a 2-year-old girl from Pakan succumbed after being stung by hornets while accompanying her mother at their pepper farm.
According to the Julao District Police Chief DSP Andan Sulin, when the toddler was stung below her left ear, her mother rushed her home but was unable to take her to the clinic as she had no transport. The girl was only brought to the clinic at about 8:30 p.m. when her father returned home. According to the doctor, she was weak upon arrival and was unfortunately pronounced dead at 11:40 p.m.
Balik ke rumah Panjang, di mana jarak rumah Panjang dari kebun itu lebih kurang 1 jam berjalan kaki. Walau bagaimanapun, pada jam lebih kurang pukul 11 malam, pihak doktor telah mengesahkan si mati telah meninggal dunia.
Meanwhile, more than 30,000 public university students will benefit from the 185.7 million ringgit tuition fee deduction initiative launched by the government in an effort to help those affected by the pandemic.
In a statement, the Ministry of Higher Education MOHE said the deduction, ranging between 10 to 35%, includes service, accommodation, and graduation fees, as well as college activities. Eligible recipients for this initiative would be second semester students from the 2019 to 2020 academic session first, before proceeding to the next 2 semesters of the 2020-2021 academic session. MOHE views that the fee deductions are necessary as the 20 universities involved had to bear high operations costs.
A rotten stench from a river has baffled residents at the Taman Lucy residential area in Kota Padawan for days. It turns out that the stench came from the decomposing body of a man at the river not far from a farm behind the residential area.
Hasil pemeriksaan awal dapati tiada kecederaan disebabkan oleh jenayah, tetapi mempunyai beberapa kecederaan yang disebabkan oleh gigitan serangga atau binatang. Turut mendapati adalah si mati telah berumur berdasarkan ketiadaan gigi. Jadi kes telah disiasat oleh Ketua Polis Balai Batu 10 sebagai sudden death report.
The victim's body was brought to the Sarawak General Hospital mortuary for post-mortem. The case is classified as sudden death.
And the first virtual World Halal Business Conference on September would see a gathering of more than 1,000 delegates virtually from 35 countries, with representatives from various governments, industry experts, policymakers, scholars and civil society. Organized by the Halal Development Corporation (HDC), an agency under the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, the conference would carry a strong message that resonated globally. Malaysia's initiatives in promoting the halal industry in major economic sectors, finance, food, pharmaceuticals, logistics, cosmetics and services have been a major contributor to the growth of the country's economy. WHBC 2021's theme of the Catalyst for Universal Economic Recovery is described as both timely and apt, given the current global economic situation. WHBC 2021, along with the Malaysia International Halal Showcase, is scheduled to be held between September 9 to 12, 2021, during the World Halal Week 2021 via virtual and hybrid platforms.
Akan protection items happy kerana abak tandang menua pekong kau kan ingat kan yang mahal terutama di madah kecaranya
And you can see
Salam sejahtera.
Warnailah hidupmu, tampilkanlah bakat baru. Sarawak pasti maju, menginspirasi duniamu.
Anda seorang pelajar atau bekerja di sini. So, berapa lama sudah di Jepun? Apa langkah-langkah yang anda ambil untuk mencegah dari pandemik? Baik, anda bersama saya Hazuki Izima. Hazuki Izima, TVS Tokyo.
Rice is not cooked. Oh man.
Hopefully she don't burn the aromatic.
I do have one question. Is the instruction correct? Oh my god.
So I think like our crew actually enjoy seeing us getting commended lah.
Rocking your weekend with a wide selection of music videos. From your favorite local artists to the fiercely indies, we've got you covered. Weekend Vibes new season every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. only on TVS channel 122.
Welcome back to the Nightline with the COVID-19 development. Malaysia's COVID-19 case rate continued to climb after the country reported around 12,541 new infections today. Selangor has the highest infections with 5,512 cases, followed by Negeri Sembilan with 1,619 cases and Kuala Lumpur with 1,542 cases. Meanwhile, Sarawak recorded 423 new infections. This brings the country's cumulative number of infections to 893,323. On the other hand, in the effort to ensure that herd immunity can be achieved in line with the targets outlined by the National COVID-19 Immunization Programme, the Drug Control Authority has granted conditional approval to Sinopharm and Johnson & Johnson vaccines to be used to deal with COVID-19 threats in Malaysia.
This, at the same time, witnessed the 6th and 7th types of immunization to be included in the National COVID-19 Immunization Program portfolio. According to the Health Director General, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, Covilo suspension for injection COVID-19 vaccine ViroCell inactivated is developed by China National Biotech Group Company Limited and manufactured by Beijing Institute of Biological Products Co. Limited BIBP, China, with Duo Pharma Sendirian Berhad as the product registration holder. The Janssen COVID-19 vaccine suspension for injection vaccine, on the other hand, is manufactured by Janssen Pharmaceutica NV Belgium with Johnson & Johnson Sendirian Berhad as the product registration holder. He added Ministry of Health would keep improving the level of public health amid COVID-19 through the procurement of vaccines that have been evaluated in terms of their quality, safety and efficiency by the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency and approved by the DCA. Earlier, the implementation of PIC saw Malaysia granting conditional approval for use during disasters involving 3 types of vaccines, namely Pfizer, Sinovac and AstraZeneca.
And now on to the next update. The COVID-19 vaccination rate ramped up with 460,158 doses administered yesterday, smashing the record of highest daily number of people inoculated in the country.
Total doses administered yesterday included 155,351, which were given as second dose, while 304,807 individuals received their first dose. This brings the total number of vaccine doses administered under the National COVID-19 Immunization Program implemented since last February 24 to 13,107,716 doses. On another development, Malaysia now boasts one of the fastest vaccination rates in the world, doling out more than 400,000 doses a day, outperformed in the past week only by Canada among countries of a similar size or greater, and double the pace of Australia.
With the new COVID-19 variants, including the Delta variant, infections can spread very quickly in just 15 seconds via airborne. This was confirmed by the Health Director General, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah.
According to Noor Hisham, the airborne infection would raise the infectivity rate R0 or RT in the community, which then results in a spike in daily cases.
Juga dimaklumkan peningkatan kes bukan hanya di negara kita. Kita lihat peningkatan kes kita bermula pada 26 Jun dan kita 26 Jun dan kita lihat peningkatannya adalah kerana kebolehjangkitan Delta variant yang boleh menjangkit dengan cepat. Dan kalau kita lihat kebolehjangkitan virus yang biasa R0 ataupun RT dalam 2.5 hingga 3, tetapi R0 ataupun RT untuk Delta variant dan varian-varian yang kita kenal pasti adalah lebih tinggi, iaitu 5 hingga ke 8. Berarti kalau 100 orang dijangkiti, dalam tempoh masa terdekat inkubasi akan menjangkiti 500 orang hingga 800 orang.
Meanwhile, Dr. Noor Hisham said the implementation of the movement control under the National Recovery Plan on June 1 had given the Ministry of Health space and time to manage the increased number of beds, equipment, and medicine required in hospitals nationwide. This could be seen through the ministry's capability in providing a total of 4,300 beds at present, with 3,600 beds at the Malaysia Agro Exposition Park Serdang MAEPS COVID-19 Integrated Quarantine and Treatment Center and 700 beds in 3 hospitals, including at the Serdang Hospital.
On to the next update. The scheduling process of COVID-19 vaccination for taxi and e-hailing drivers, as well as e-hailing riders, has begun, involving over 50,000 individuals in the service transport, said Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wee Ka Siong. We added the Transport Ministry had received a list of names from the respective operators and companies since mid-June, and the first group involved a total of 41,488 taxi and e-hailing drivers and 11,527 e-hailing riders. Commenting further, he said the additional list of 57,931 e-hailing riders had also been submitted to CITF for consideration. He added that the ministry aimed to inoculate over 300,000 public transportation drivers, including e-hailing riders in the Klang Valley, as soon as possible.
Anda seorang pelajar atau bekerja di sini. So, berapa lama sudah di Jepun? Apa langkah-langkah yang anda ambil untuk mencegah dari pandemik? Baik, anda bersama saya Hazuki Izima. Hazuki Izima, TVS Tokyo.
United Kids of Oi!
Jangan lupa saksikan Nembiak Toronto setiap Sabtu jam 11.15 pagi hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan MyTV.
Akan berfixing items happy kerana abang tandang menua pusing kau kuanti ingat kita yang mengakibatkan terutama di madah kecaranya and we can see
Salam sejahtera.
Warnailah hidupmu, tampilkanlah bakat baru. Sarawak pasti maju, menginspirasi duniamu. Putri Santubo sejinjang sayang.
Thank you for staying with me. Now moving on to some sports updates. National Paralympian J-Marie Siga aims to contribute a medal placing for the country at the 2020 Tokyo Paralympic Games, which will be held this coming August. The SARAWAK-born athlete who was listed to compete in the 50-meter butterfly during the Games expressed his astonishment and gratitude after being informed by his coach, Eva Wong Chang, that he will be competing in the Olympics.
The athlete said consistent training as well as mental and physical preparation is needed even though we are in the midst of a global COVID-19 pandemic. He also mentioned despite facing the pandemic, he trains twice a day abiding with the standard operating procedure SOP.
On the other hand, with a week left until the opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympic Games, concerns have been raised regarding possible infections as a cluster has emerged at a hotel where dozens of Brazilian Olympic team members are staying. The host city also topped 1,300 cases, its highest number of new cases in 6 months.
いや、できるとは思ってません。思ってないんですか？思ってないです。むしろやるんだなって中止でいいんじゃないかなって思います。コロナを広めるためのオリンピックになっちゃうと思うんで、何考えてんだろう国はって思いますね。強行みたいな感じでやろうとしてるんで。
Just one day after the hotel cluster involving 7 hotel staff emerged, an Olympic athlete under a 14-day quarantine period also tested positive for the virus. A source in the Tokyo Games Organizing Committee also expressed concern, saying that the measures are not in order. As spectators will be banned at 97% of venues, the organizers are also being forced to deal with making changes to how volunteers, medical staff, and security personnel should be assigned to work during the Games. Despite imposing Olympic bubbles, medical experts are worried that they might not be airtight as the movement of staff servicing the games can create opportunities for infections.
We'll wrap up the Nightline with this update. Thailand reported 9,186 new COVID-19 cases and a record high of 98 new fatalities during the past 24 hours. To date, Thailand recorded 372,215 COVID-19 cases and 3,032 deaths since the outbreak in January last year.
In a statement, the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration, CCSA, reported 51 fatalities, followed by Samut Prakan, 14, Nakhon Pathom, 7, Pathum Thani, 5, Nakhon Ratchasima, 3, and 2 each in Ubon Ratchathani, Udon Thani, Narathiwat, and Tak. Meanwhile, Thailand plans to limit the exports of locally produced AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine as the kingdom faces an uphill battle to fight the outbreak since April. The proposed plan could disrupt the vaccine supply to countries such as Malaysia and Indonesia. National Vaccine Institute Director Nakorn Premsri said the plan to limit a quota on vaccine exports had been agreed in principle on Wednesday. Meanwhile, AstraZeneca said the company is working with the governments across Southeast Asia, including Thailand, to ensure equitable vaccine access to the region as Thailand-manufactured vaccine is of critical importance to neighboring countries where the pandemic is also accelerating, reported Reuters.
And that concludes TVS Nightline for tonight. And as always, thank you for tuning in to your local news tonight. Here with me, Shah Shameto, and I'll see you next time. Have a good weekend.